So welcome to the lesson for activity 1. So here we will see how we are going to develop a small MVC application using the Hibernate Framework. So let's see what we need to do in this activity. So first we need to have this database table. So first I will create this table. So let's see my exam server, that means Apache and MySQL is running. So both are running. So I will go to localhost php myadmin, and here so I'm going to create a new database. So we will create activity 6 as the database, and then so I will go to the SQL and I'm going to run this query. So now I have created this employee table. So this is the structure of employee table. So let's see next what you need to do. So here we need to have this interface first in the index.jsp file. So I will go here and I'm going to create a new Maven project, and so we will use web app as the archetype, and so we will name this as activity 6, this project, and click finish. Okay, now it created. So but you can see that we are having an issue. So that issue is because of this JavaX servlet API. So we will go to the Maven repository, and then we will get javax.servlet API, and we will add it under dependency. And then we will update this Maven project. Okay, now we will go to this index.jsp file, and we are going to have this interface here. So we will make this as h1, and this will be employee registration, and here we will have a table and a table row, and table column, 2 columns we need to have. So the first column according to our activities, so the first column is employee ID, and next column is the input field, input type equal text, and name equal emp id. Okay, so we need to close this. So we will have similar rows for other columns as well. So this will be first name, and we will name f name, and this will be last name, and again this should be L name, and here this is the registration button. So therefore I will make this as a submit button, and value is register. So this should include in that mean so we need to submit this value, so therefore we need to have a form tag. An action, so according to our activity you can see the action is actually new. Okay, so therefore we will put the action as new here, and so we'll use the default method, so that's the get. Okay, so if you need, you can add that one, default one, the get. So now if I run this file, so this will be my interface. So let's move to our activity. So now we have created this interface. So then what we need to do is dependencies, because we are going to use the Hibernate framework here. So when you are going to use the Hibernate framework, so first we need to add some dependencies. So mainly we need to add two dependencies. First one is the JDBC driver, because Hibernate is again using this JDBC driver to connect with the database, so therefore we need to add the JDBC driver. And the second one is we need to add Hibernate core library. So let's go to this maven repository, and first we will add Java MySQL connector Java, and okay, so this will be the connector, and we are going to add it here, and then the Hibernate core. So here we will use 5.2 version. And then we will update this maven project. Okay, now we have added the dependencies. So after that, what we need to do, so we need to create the employee entity. So now we will create the folder structure that we are normally using. So under this Java resources, you can see that the source folder is not available. In that case, we can go to this properties, and you can go to this Java build path and select JRE, and you can double click here and you can select workspace default JRE. You can apply, so then you can see source main Java is there. So normally we are going to have 4 packages, so we have discussed that thing to organize this code. So the first package is we can use at app.hibernate to put all Hibernate configurations, and again we can have another package for the entity classes, so we will make it as entity, and then we are having a controller here, so therefore we can have another package to add the controller. And again we are having something called DAO, so we will add this database related classes under this DAO. Okay, now we are going to have the entity class. So entity class, we are going to have it as a class, Java class. So this will be the employee class, and here we have discussed that we are going to have this as a being class, so therefore we are going to implement this by using serializable interface. And what are the attributes we need to have here? According to the database, we need to have emp id, and first name and last name. So now we are going to have no argument constructor, so you can go to source and you can add this no argument constructor. Also you need to add getters and setters, so we will go here and we can add getters and setters for all these properties like this. Okay, now we need to annotate this. So this is an entity class, so therefore we are going to use Java persistence package entity annotator, and then we need to tell which table so this class is associated with this table. So we are going to tell it like this: name is employee, so this is employee table. And then what is the primary key here? So we can use ID, and then we can use it as a primary key annotator. And then we need to tell what is the associated column name from the database side. So here so we can use name, and here the name is EMP-ID, so we didn't change these names, so therefore we can use the same name here as well. And for the first name, so this will be first name, and for the last name, so this will be last name. So here what we're adding is the column name in the database side. So this is the object side, this is the column name which is there in the database side. So now we have annotated, so that's also completed now. So let's move to the activity again, and let's see what's next. And now we need to create the configurations, because we have discussed that in the Hibernate. So we need to have a session factory, because we are going to communicate with the database through the sessions. To create a session, so we need to have a session factory. So in Hibernate, Hibernate applications, we can have only one session factory. This one session factory can produce many many sessions. Okay, so you can have many number of sessions. So now we will create this Hibernate util class. So we will go to the Hibernate package, and inside that we are going to have a new Java class called Hibernate util. Okay, so now here we will have a private session factory object. So we will use Hibernate package here, and we are going to have a session factory object. Now we are going to use a public method to get this session factory. And we will make this static, so then we can directly access it without creating any objects. So we need to have this as static. So here we are going to return this session factory object. So now we have discussed that we have discussed that we should have okay, so here I did put method definition. So we should have only one session factory. So therefore we are going to check whether we are having a session factory before creating a new one. If it is equal to null, that means if you don't have any session factory, so then we are going to create this session factory. So how we are going to create the session factory? So when you are going to create a session factory, so we need to put some configurations. So we will use the Hibernate configuration class here. So we will create a new configuration set. Okay, so now we are going to add some properties. So what is the first property we are going to add here? So that is the driver. So we can use environment driver, and here the driver is JDBC driver. So then com dot mysql dot jdbc dot driver. So likewise we can have the driver and URL, that means the database URL, and user, database user, and database password. So what is the database URL? So we can get it from here. So I will get I'll go to the properties, and here under this property, so this is the normal URL pattern, so I will paste it here, but in my case the database is activity 6, so this is my database, so I will add it here. And now the user is test user, and password is also test user. So now the environment properties, I have set these properties. So after that we need to add these properties into our configuration object. So you can use set properties method, and we can set these properties into the configuration. And after that we need to add the annotated class. So this is employee class. We are having only one entity class up to now, so therefore I'm going to add that one here. Okay, so now we are going to create the session factory. So we are going to use service registry to create the session factory, so which is coming with the Hibernate service package. So here we will use standard service registry. Standard service registry builder, and we will apply the settings that we have added to the configuration. So we can call to props not so those are now with the config object. So we will call to CFG object, and we will call to get properties method to get these properties. And after that we will use the build method. Okay, so here apply settings, build method. So now this is the service register object. So now we are going to have the session factory. So we can get it by calling to this CFG, the CFG object, and build session factory, and we are going to pass this service registry. So now we have created this session factory. So now that's also done. Let's see next part. So now we need to have a dispatcher servlet. So we have discussed that in this activity, so we are not going to use different controllers. We are going to use a main controller, and this main controller is the main servlet. So we will name this as dispatcher servlet. Okay, now here, so I'm going to remove these additional things, and I will use only the service method here. And also we have discussed that we are having a method called init method, so we can call to this init method as well. So so we will see how it's going to use. I will delete this one for now. This dispatcher servlet, I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to create this servlet again. Okay, now here servlet, and this will be dispatcher servlet, and here Okay, so I will see what is there in the web.xml file. Okay, let's add this dispatcher servlet here. So I think I have created it and deleted, so now I think it's there in okay, let's have a clean and build here. So as maven clean, and now see whether we can create this dispatcher servlet, because I have created it and again I have deleted it, so that's why we are having this issue, I guess. Okay, now let's see whether we can create this one. Okay, now it's allowing. No, it's still in that we have this servlet, so I will name it like dispatcher servlet 1. Okay, and next so here so I wanted to show this interface, that's why I have deleted. So from here you have you can do it, so without doing manual, without deleting these methods manually in adding, so you can configure it here. So we need only service and also we need init. So you might remember that when we were talking about this servlet, so we have discussed that init is a method that normally servlet is calling during the initialization stage. Okay, so if you need to create some specific objects that we need to use throughout the servlet lifecycle, so then we can create those objects inside this init method. So that's why that's what I'm going to do here. So without using this also, we can create these objects during the service as well. So that means once a request comes to the service method, so again it will create some object, but that's approach is also okay. But here if you are using this init method, so then these objects will be created when the servlet is initializing. So then those objects will be there for the all the servlet during the servlet life cycle. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show. That's why I have deleted that file, and now I'm going to click finish. So now we can see the dispatch servlet 1 is there, because dispatch servlet name I can't use it, but I will try to rename it and check whether it's working. Okay, it worked. So now you can see we are having this init method and also the service method. So now what I'm going to do is so I'm going to have a kind of a DAO object here. So because DAO package I'm going to use to have some database connections, that means database operations related to these entities. So in our case we have only one entity, that's the employee entity. So we will create employee DAO class here to have all these employee entity related database operations. All the employee entity related database operations I'm going to handle through this employee DAO. So now what I'm going to do here is, so here I'm going to create a private employee DAO object called emp DAO. Okay, now in this initialization so when the servlet is initializing, so I'm going to create this object. Okay, so I'm going to use this and I'm going to create new emp DAO object. So then once the servlet is initializing, so we have already created these objects. After that, during our service method, so we that means when we are catering for some requests, we can use this object. So that is what I wanted to highlight here. Now I will go to the activity again. So in this activities, now we have created this dispatcher servlet, and then so in the dispatcher servlet, actually we need to add annotation here, because this is the main servlet we are using, web servlet we are going to use. So therefore we are going to mention that all the requests coming to our website will handle by this one, by adding this annotator. Okay, it's a web servlet, and all the requests with this pattern will be served through this one. Now we will move to the employee DAO. So the employee DAO will handle all the CRUD operations related to this employee entity. So now the first CRUD operation is register. So register is coming with this URL. So first the request comes to here, because we are telling this is the main servlet here. Now once the request comes here, so the first thing is we need to handle this request. Okay, so we will create a string variable called requested page. So now we are going to handle, we are going to access this request, and we are going to get the servlet path to check whether what resource this user actually requested. If this requested page, okay, requested page equals to new, so that is what we are passing when we are actually registering a new employee, new. So now we are going to create another private method. Okay, so private method called create employee. Okay, so we will have a private method called create employee. Okay, so now we are going to pass this request and response to this create employee method. We have created this create employee method. We are going to pass this request and response to this create employee method. This is the new method that we have created. So now what we need to do here, so we need to save this employee. So how we are going to save this employee? First we need to create an employee object here. So we will use the employee class, and we will create an EMP object, and it's a new employee. And now so we are going to set the EMP ID of this employee by accessing the request get parameter, and here the parameter we will go to the index, and parameter is EMP ID, and now we are getting it like this, and we are going to set the first name of this user employee, and also the last name of this employee. This will be first name, if name, and here it should be L name. Okay, now we need to save this employee. Save means what? It's a database operation. Let's see what's the issue here. Okay. Still I'm having the issue. What's that? The import app entity cannot be resolved. Employee. Okay, let's clean and build it. Okay, let's run and see whether we are having that issue. But okay, now we have created these objects, and now we need to create this employee DAO class. So here the employee DAO class, what the first database operation we are going to do, so that is the that's the save operation. So therefore we will create a public void save employee kind of method, and here we are going to get the employee object from outside, and after that we are going to save it. So in this case, so first we need to have a session object called session equal we are going to call this Hibernate util class, and we are going to call this get session factory. Then we are going to open a session. So now we are having the session. So once the session is created, so the next one is we are going to have the transaction. Okay, so we are going to have a transaction. So the transaction we are going to use this session, and we are going to call to this begin transaction. So then we are going to use this session, and we are going to save so we are going to save this employee, then we can save it, and then finally we are going to commit this transaction like this. Now that's okay, so we will format it. Okay. Now so we will go here, and we will call to this emp DAO. Now this object is already created during the initialization, and we are calling to save employee, and we are going to pass this employee object like this. So now we will see how whether our employee is going to save to the database. We will run this one. Okay, we came to this new. So let's go and see whether we are having any values here. Yes, the values saved to the database. So since we have used get as the method here, so we can see those things with the URL as well. So if you don't need to see these things in the URL, so we will change this into post. Okay, post, and let's run this again. Okay, now we can't see it, but still we have saved things to the database. So now that's the first part. So we have completed that one. So now the second part is, after successfully registering an employee in the database, the application will redirect the user to view employee JSP interface. Okay, and view employee is considered as an internal resource. So that means it's not a public resource, that the users cannot directly access this employee view employee interface. So it's a internal resource. It should be displayed with the URL view. Okay, let's see how we are going to implement that part. So I'm going to create this JSP file first. So since it is an internal resource, what I'm going to use here is, I'm going to use this web.inf folder. Inside this web.inf folder, I'm going to create this JSP file called view employee. So now this is view employee, and here also we will add a title h1 view employee. So now how we are going to construct that view to the user? So this is how we are going to do it. So in the dispatcher servlet, so now we are having a different URL pattern. So that is we will use a else if, and this will be view. The URL pattern will be view. So from once the employee saved to the database, so we are going to redirect this response sent redirect to this view, because that's what that's what mentioned in the activity. Okay, so we are going to redirect this user to the view. So here it will throw some exceptions, so we will add those things into the declaration. Okay, now once user come to this level, so again we are going to have another method, so private method. So this will be get emp list. So we are going to get the employee list here. So we will call to this get emp list method. So in the get emp list method, it's not directly we are showing a JSP file, it's an internal file. So therefore we are having a class called request dispatcher. So you can use this request dispatcher, and you can create an object, and you can get this internal file into this dispatcher object. Okay, so you can see, so we can give the path of this internal file. So it's there in the web inf folder, and then the name of this one is view employee.jsp, view employee.jsp. So now this is the resource, the internal resource. So now we are going to use dispatcher object, and we are going to forward this page as the response. Okay, so we are going to forward this page as the response here. Now this response will be constructed, that means this view will be constructed through the controller, and this view will be sent to the user. So let's see how it worked here. So I will go to this page. So now here we can add some data, click register. Okay, we came to the view employee. Now see, this is the URL, but actually the content belongs to this file, because this is the file that we have used, but users cannot see that it's coming from this file, because we have constructed a view through the controller, and that view will be sent to the user. So now we will try to get these employees, and we will display this employee information. So this is how we are going to do that one. So now again we need to connect with the database. It's related to the employee entity, therefore I'm going to this employee DAO class, and here now we need to have another public method. So this time we are going to get a list of users, because the table will have list of users. So those users are actually employees. Okay, so employees, and then so we will call this as get emp list. Here we are not passing anything, and we need to create a list here, java.util list, and this will be employee list. This will be an employee list, so we will name this as emp list. It's null now. Now we are going to return this emp list. So now again we need to have the same steps. First we need to have a session, because we are going to run any of these tasks through the session. So therefore we can have a session object. How we are going to have a session object? We can call to this Hibernate util class, and you can call to get session factory, and you can open this session. So after that you need to have a transaction. Okay, so transaction, because all these tasks we are running through a transaction. So you can call to this session, and session dot begin transaction, then the transaction is open. So now we are going to run this session, but in this case we need to get all the employees. Okay, so in that case we need to have a Hibernate query. So therefore we are having a session dot create query method. So we are going to use this method, and this now it's a object oriented one, because we are going to get from employee entity, from employee. So this is the entity from employee, then it will return from the employee. And here we are going to get a result, get result list. You can see what are the methods we have been under this create method. So here we are going to get all the result as a result list, and then that list will be assigned to this emp list. After that we need to commit this transaction dot commit, and we can execute this transaction. So now it will return the employee list. The employee list will come to the dispatcher servlet. Okay, so here once we come here, okay, so once we come here, now we are going to call to this emp DAO object and get emp list, and then this list. So this will be a list, actually java.util list. It's a employee list, and we will name this as emp list. Okay, now so emp DAO. So then we are going to create a attribute here, request dot set attribute, and we will create an attribute called emp list, and then so we are going to put this emp list under this attribute like this. So after that the request will be forwarded. Okay, now since the request is forwarded to this internal file, now this attribute will also go with the request. So therefore from this request side we can get this attribute. So before that we need to add a table here to display this to display this employees, so we will have it like this. So here we need to have employee ID, first name, last name, actions. Okay, and again so here we are having table data. Okay, like this. Now this employee list is coming with the attribute, so therefore we will add a scriptlet here, and now we can have a we can create this list object. So employee, so employee list, emp list. So we are going to get it from the request now, because it's coming with the request. Get attribute, and we can give the attribute name as emp list. Okay, so there's a first we need to add this one, and here also employee, and here mismatch is there, so we will cast it into a list. Okay, now we are going to use a for each to go through it. So this is the for each loop. So here we will add the for each like this. Now I'm going to break this one here, and again the starting tag will be added here, and now this row I'm going to add here in between these two tags like this. Now this employee we are getting one by one, so we are going to display employee ID here. So we can use the assignment operator, and we can call to this employee dot get employee ID like this. I can print the first name, last name, action means first we are having update, so it should be an anchor tag. So href, so we will have update ID equal like this, and this will be update. So we are having another one, it's delete, so we will have it like this. So now it's not update, it should be delete. Okay, let's run and see. So I will refresh this view employee. Okay, now it's displaying like this. Okay, I didn't change this one. First I will add a border into this table. So this is the table, so we will have a border, and here this is employee ID, this should be first name, and this should be last name. So now if I refresh this, now you can see this is what we expected here, view employee, and viewing this employee information. like this. Okay. Now so you can see once I go to update, so it will be update. Okay, the question mark, I didn't use the question mark in it, so this should be question mark because we are passing it as a query string here, so it should be question mark. Yes, now okay, so that's the second part of this activity. So now we can see how we constructed the view. So let's see how we are going to have this update. So in the update you can see that we are having this employee edit .jsp file we need to have. So now since you know the theory, that means how we are doing it, so I will quickly do the other two parts. So the employee edit, so I'm going to have employee edit again inside this web.inf, and it's a JSP file, and this should be employee edit, next finish. So this will be edit employee, and we will have h1 again, it should be edit employee, and edit employee is very much similar to the index.jsp page interface, so therefore we will have same form here, and here the link should be update, and we need to get the values from the database. So let's see how we are going to do that one. So now in the employee DAO, again we need to connect with the database related to this entity. Now we are going to get an employee here. So we are going to get an employee, so public employee, get employee. So we will have a method called public employee get employee. So we will first we will create employee object, and for first it's a null object actually, and we are going to pass this employee object. So we are going to return this employee object. So now how we are going to get this employee? So to get an employee, actually we need to get the ID of this employee. So in this case the ID, that means the primary key is the identifier is actually string 1, so therefore we are creating a string ID. So now in this case, so we are going to get this employee. So this is how we are going to get this employee by using the ID. Okay. So first we are going to create so we are calling to this Hibernate util dot get session factory dot open session, and then transaction call transaction equal session dot begin transaction, and then the next one is emp object. So how we are going to get the emp object? So we will call to the session, and we are going to call to get method, and we can see that we can give the entity name here, and also the serializable ID. So that is the ID. Okay. So in here in this case the employee is the entity, employee class is the entity, and we are going to pass the ID. Now it will return an object, so that will be a emp object in my case. So then I'm going to commit this transaction. So now I can get this employee object. So let's go here and dispatcher servlet, and in dispatcher servlet again we need to have another else if mark. So that is for the update. that's for the update. So in this update, so actually the update we are going to handle it two ways, because in the first case, so if I take this one, so in this view employee one, so here update is coming with the query string, and if I go to this employee edit, the update is coming without a query string. So therefore we need to handle it in two ways. So now, and so again I'm having a if condition here, and if this request dot get parameter id is not equal null, so that means it's there, not equal null. If it is there, it's coming from what? It's coming from the view employee. So in such case, I'm going to create view employee method, okay, by passing this request and response. But in the other case it's to update, okay. So therefore I will make update employee. It's update employee. Now I need to have two methods again. So one is for the view employee, another one is for the update employee. So first we will create view employee. So this is the view employee, and next one is for the update employee, okay. So so in the view employee, so I'm removing these parts, okay. So in the view employee, I need to get this employee first. So I'm going to create an employee object called emp, and I'm going to connect with this emp DAO, and I'm going to get this employee by passing the employee ID. So the employee ID is coming with the request dot get parameter, and here the parameter is ID. So once I pass this ID, so I can get the employee. So then this employee will be set it to set it to the so we can use bean class if you can put into the request, okay. So then I will use request dot set attribute so here the attribute name is emp, and we are going to put it as emp. Now we are going to redirect this user response. Okay, so now that is an internal one. So therefore what I'm going to do is I'm going to again create this dispatcher request dispatcher object. So the request dispatch object. So this case I'm going to use not view employee, it should be employee edit .jsp. So then I'm going to add this attribute to the request, and after that so we are going to pass forward this into the request into the response like this. Now we will go to the employee edit, and here I can directly use use bean object here. So I will add JSP use bean object, and here ID will be emp, and emp the class is employee class, and then the scope of this object is request, because it's coming with the request. So then I can use this here under the value. So I will use emp dot get emp id, and this should be read only one, because we are not going to change the id. Okay, so likewise we can add the value into other fields as well. Here it should be emp first name, and here emp last name. So likewise I can set these values. So let's see how it's going to work now. So if I go here, view employee, now I can refresh it, and now I will click on this update. So once I click on this update, okay, now you can see my information is loaded. How it loaded? So it used this identifier, and based on that this actually got the employee object, and then the employee object passed to this edit employee. So now this should be not register, so this should the button we need to change it to update. So here employee edit, the button need to change into update. So once user click on this update button, so what will happen? So now the dispatcher servlet will send this employee into the update employee method. So this is the update employee method. We didn't implement that one. So we will go employee DA1. What we are going to do is we are going to update this employee. It's like save again. So I'm going to copy this save method and paste it, and this will be update. Again we are sending the employee here, and then employee not save. Now the method is update. Okay, very simple. Now I will go to the dispatcher servlet again. So I will copy whatever things we are having under create, and then I'm adding those things here, and I'm going to get this information from the request, and now it's not save, it's update employee, and again redirect to employee. So let's run and see. So I will go to view. So this is the view. So I need to update. So I will click update. So now Bernard, I will use Bernard AA and click update. Oh, now you can see it's Bernard AA. So very simple. Okay. So we have used this update method, which is there in this Hibernate, and we have updated the employee object. Okay, so we need to we don't need to tell what we need to update, which column we need to update. Likewise, we don't need to tell, just call to this one. So now let's see how we are going to, that's the third part of this activity. So let's see the other activity. So that is the delete operation. Okay, so now I will develop that as well. So in the delete operation, so I will go to the dispatcher servlet again. Now we are getting a request to delete. Okay, so we will have another else if here. So this is delete. Okay, so in the delete one we don't need to handle it in a two separate way. So we will remove these parts. Now this is delete. Okay, so now like update employee, so we can have another method called delete employee. So this is delete employee, and here also under this delete we will have the delete employee. So now in the delete employee, here again we don't need to set these ones. So what we are going to set here is like in the get employee. Okay, So like in the view employee, so we are going to okay, this is the delete employee, so we are going to have a method called delete. We didn't create it still, so we will go to the employee DAO, and here like in the get employee, so I'm going to copy this method, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a delete employee. And delete employee, we need to tell which employee. That means we need to tell the ID of the employee that we are going to delete here. So now that is passing from the dispatcher. You can see the delete employee, and we are going to get the ID from the request object, and then in this DAO, so first we are getting the employee. So this is the employee. Now what we are going to do is, if this employee emp is not equal to null, that means actually we have selected an employee not equal to null, as an employee is there exist, then we are going to call to session dot delete, and we are going to pass emp as the object, and this time it's a void, so we are not going to return employee here. Now commit. So first we are going to get who is the employee, and then we are going to delete that if the employee is there. So that is why we are checking here. If the employee is there, so we are going to delete this employee, and then we are going to commit the transaction. So now let's see how this delete is going to work. So this is the view employee. Now I need to delete this Bernard 3 Silla 3. I am clicking on delete. Okay, now it deleted. Deleted. So likewise, so we can add the delete operation. Now you can see it's very easy. So just call into this delete method. Okay, but before that we need to select who is the employee here. So we can select it by using this get method, and then once the employee is there, if this employee is there exist, so then we are going to delete this employee. So that's how we are going to complete these all CRUD operations by using the Hibernate framework. So you can see that it's very easy. So we didn't write any single SQL query here. So we just use only HQL in one operation only. All the other things we have used the existing methods which are there in the Hibernate framework. So that's why we are telling that if you are using this Hibernate framework to develop some applications, it's very easy. So you don't need to write any SQL queries, SQL level things. So we can work we can do the thing by working with the objects that we are having in the application environment. So that's all about this activity. So hope you got some idea about this activity. So you can also practice this, and you can see the benefits of this Hibernate framework. So after practicing this one. Thank you.